Good morning, my dear learners of MEC 2602 Study Center, Government Degree College, Dharmanagar. Today, I will discuss the topic Economics of Growth and Development. This is MEC 104. Under this course, there are 6 main blocks, and under these blocks, there are total 22 units. Now, I am discussing one by one regarding different units. The first unit, this is Introduction to Economic Growth. Here, the preliminary idea about growth and development. At first, you have to know what do you mean by economic growth and the contrast between economic growth and economic development, because growth and development are not the same thing. Development means economic growth plus some positive changes of the economy, structural changes of the economy. So, economic growth and economic development, not the same thing. Again, you have to know about the growth performance of the world economy, growth performance of different countries and developed countries and less developed countries and the developing countries. And in the last portion, you have to know the importance of the study of the economic growth. Why you will study the topic economic growth, and there are some limitations of economic growth. And in the next unit, there are some interesting model regarding growth, economic growth. The first one is the Harrod model, another one is the Doman model, Harrod Doman growth model. And here from the Harrod growth model, the Harrod growth model actually find out the answers of the following questions. How can steady growth rate be achieved with fixed capital output ratio and fixed saving income ratio, that is propensity to save? How can the steady growth rate be maintained, or what are the conditions for maintaining the stable growth? And how do natural factors put a ceiling on the growth rate of the economy? Similarly, another interesting model is Domar growth model, investment leading to an increase in productive capacity and income. What should be the rate of increase in investment which would equalize the increase in income and the increase in productive capacity so that full employment is maintained? So, from the Domar model, we can find out answer of this question. So, these two models are very interesting, and Harrod model and the Doman model, and get a clear idea of the usefulness and limitation of this integrated model. I will learn from this unit. Next unit, also there are some neoclassical growth model. The neoclassical growth model associated with the name of Robert Solow. Solow growth model presented the first major extension to the Harrod-Doman model. Solow model is actually it is the extension of the Harrod-Doman model. Extension of the Harrod-Doman model by endogenizing the capital output ratio. And from this unit, you have to learn also some implication of the Solow model, namely that the technical progress is more important than capital accumulation, and raising the saving ratio in the short run is not going to help in the Solow model. Technological progress and consequently output growth is exogenous. And from this unit, you have to learn also the application of the Solow model on convergence and poverty trap. The next chapter regarding growth and distribution. There are some interesting theories. There are theories of John Robinson, Michael Kalecki, Nicholas Calders, and so many economists are there. And there are some broad similarities in the four main theories. Each is also a distinct model with its own characteristics. So here, from this unit you have to learn the Robinson model of economic growth, Kalecki theory of distribution under monopolistic competition. Just here, this is a spelling mistake here. That will be monopolistic competition, and Candler model of economic growth, and Passanetti's theory of growth and distribution. Next chapter deals with total factor productivity and growth accounting. From this chapter, you have to learn the concept of total factor productivity, uh, and the factors that affect productivity, and the relationship of productivity and growth accounting, and the method to measure productivity, and the issues and debates relating to productivity analysis. Next chapter is related with technical change and progress. From this chapter, you have to learn different technological progress. What do you mean by technical progress, and distinguish between technical change and technical uh, technical change, and explain the various types of technical progress. And there are some neutral technological progress, and you have to analyze the new classical growth model with technical progress. That is Hicks, Harrod, and Solo's uh, neutral technological progress. So these models you have to learn from this unit. The next unit is regarding model of optimal economic growth. There are also some interesting model. The important model, this is a Ramsey model, and from this chapter, you have to learn about the concept of intertemporal consumption and the technique of intertemporal optimization, and the Ramsey model of optimal growth. And you have to analyze the implication of the golden rule of accumulation. This is very interesting and also very important for your examination. And you have to explain the meaning of discounting and time preference, and Cos Kaufman's model of optimal growth as an extension of the Ramsey model of growth. So you have to learn these things from this chapter. Another unit, that is multi-sector models of growth. Multi-sector models, from this chapter, you have to distinguish between a capital good and a consumption good, and Ujjawa model of two-sector growth, Feldman two-sector growth model, and you have to differentiate between two-sector and multi-sector growth models, and you have to analyze the dynamic Leontief model, the von Neumann multi-sector model of economic growth. This is very interesting model and very important. Leontief model and the von Neumann multi-sector model of economic growth. Another interesting unit or chapter, that is endogenous growth model. At first, you have to define the difference between exogenous growth model and endogenous growth model, and you have to describe the impact of human capital on economic growth, and you have to discuss the nature of ideas as a food to human capital formation as an engine of growth, and you have to analyze how technology can be more modeled as an endogenous growth model. Technology can be modeled as an endogenous growth model. And there are some stochastic growth models. Also, stochastic growth model deals with randomness in economic phenomenon, and you have to explain a simple extension of the basic one sector growth model to the case of uncertainty, and Brock Meerman model in the case of discounting, And another very important model, this is real business cycle. The concept of real business cycle, you have to analyze and evaluate the real business cycle model of stochastic growth. A real business cycle that aims at providing an explanation for the recurrent fluctuations observation in mature industrial economies. The structure of the real business cycle model, and you have to explain how it build upon the Brock-Mirman model. Next chapter is regarding development and underdevelopment. You have to define the relationship between poverty and the inequalities in income distribution, and you have to describe the nature of poverty and inequalities in income distribution, and you have to explain the relationship between growth and poverty and growth and inequality, and how poverty and inequalities adversely affect economic welfare. And there are some index using this index we can measure the level of poverty or level of inequality of a particular economy. So from this unit you have to learn these things. Next chapter, next unit is regarding measurement and indicators of economic development. There are some interesting indicators of economic development through which we can define the status of the economy. Uh, mm, Among these indicators, there are per capita income, basic needs approach, and human development index, PQLI, physical quality of life index. So many indicators are there. So you have to learn about these indicators of economic development and describe the limitation of these indicators, and limitation of these indicators as a measure of economic welfare, and discuss alternative indicators of economic development and their limitations. Next chapter is very interesting. This is population and development, and there is a relationship between population and development, and you have to define the two-way relationship between population growth and economic growth. A large population may stimulate growth as well as hinder it, and you have to examine the Thomas Robert Malthus and point out its shortcomings. Malthusian theory of population, and what are the main shortcomings of this theory, and you have to describe the different stages in a demographic transition and their relationship with economic growth. And again you have to explain, you have to analyze the need for a suitable population policy like in a developing poverty. Next chapter is related with institutions and economic development. And institution and economic development, here from this unit you have to learn the roles of the state and the market in developing economies. There are some rules of the state and there are some rule of the market economy in developing economics. So you have to evaluate this, and you have to define the market failure and state its characteristics, and you have to describe the situation of government failure also, and examine the impact of institutions and governance on economic development, and you have to define how economic development is influenced by social norms and the community. Again you have to explain the phenomenon of coordination failures and historical lock-ins. Next chapter is related with market inclusiveness and informal institution in the rural economy. From this unit, you will get the concept of market incompleteness and market imperfections. And from this unit, you have to describe the structure of rural land and labor market in developing nations, and you have to explain the implication of risk and uncertainty in rural credit market. Rural credit market, we know there are two types of credit market in the rural area. One is institutional credit and another is non-institutional credit. Institutional credit means credit from the government sources, and non-institutional credit means credit from private sources. And so from this chapter you have to define the implication of risk and uncertainty in rural credit market, and you have to analyze the working of periodic introduction and interlinked market, and you have to describe the risk sharing process and the working of the informal institutions in rural area. Next chapter is there are some theories of development, classical theories of development, starting from Adam Smith, Ricardo, Malthus, John Stuart Mill, and Marx. There are some interesting theories, and you have to compare the analytical devices and the visions about societies that these classical economists had, and critically examine the strengths and weakness of each of these theories. There are some strengths and there are some weakness of these theories. From these theories, we can learn how an economy can develop. Next chapter is Schumpeter and capitalist development. Schumpeter's view of the capitalist economy, it is different from that of the classical and neoclassical economy, and you have to define how Schumpeter theory of growth can be viewed as a description and model of evolutionary growth, and you have to explain the meaning of innovation and creation, destruction, and you have to describe and analyze some recent growth models that draw upon Schumpeter's ideas. Next chapter is regarding theories of underdevelopment. There are also some interesting and important theories. From this theory, we can get an idea that how can we eradicate the poverty. It is how this theory can help to develop the less developed countries particularly. The first one, very pioneer theory, that is the vicious circle of poverty, and from this unit you have to learn about the sector's contribution to underdevelopment, and you have to explain the role of surplus labor in initiating the process of economic growth in underdeveloped economy. Particularly there is an interesting model, that is the Lewis model, and a model of migration that explains the migration in developing nations from rural to urban areas, that is the Harris-Tudaro model. So these models are very much interesting and also important for your upcoming examinations or final examination. And another topic, another unit, allocation of resources and growth strategies in developing countries. How can we allocate the resources for the development of a particular country? There are different approaches. The first one is the balanced growth approach. Second one is the unbalanced growth approach or unbalanced growth strategy, and there are some economists favor for balanced growth theory and or strategy, and some economists favor the unbalanced growth strategy. And another investment criteria in developing countries and choice of technique, which technique we will choose for the development of the underdeveloped country, or for a particular country. That is the choice of technique problem, and there are some approach to the choice of technique, that there the traditional approach, and and Maurice Dobb approach, and Akeson approach, and these are the important theories. Next unit is the cost benefit analysis, that is private and social cost and benefits, and the concept of shadow price. So from this unit you have to distinguish between private and social cost and private and social benefits, and you have to explain the concept of shadow price, and you have to describe how decision regarding implementing a project is undertaken. The next chapter, that is regarding the role of planning. We know the different types of planning, centralized planning, decentralized planning. Also centralized planning from the top most portion of the economy, that is from the central government, and decentralized planning from the ground level. So you have to explain the meaning of planning as an instrument of resource allocation, and you have to distinguish between different types of planning and explain the relative merits and demerits of each type of planning. Then you have to describe the significance of micro level planning in the context of national planning, and you have to explain the structure of plan models and their usefulness in planning for economic development, and the state the need for planning in the development process. Next chapter is related with international trade and development. We know there is a relationship between trade and development, and trade is an engine of growth. We know there are some interesting models regarding trade and development, and Previs Singer model, Middle thesis, and the underlying causes of deterioration in long run terms of trade of developing countries. And from this unit, you have to analyze the structure of balance of payment and its significance in the process of development. You have to explain the role of tariffs in international trade, and you have to calculate the effective rate of protection. And another interesting thing, they appreciate the circumstances in which the WTO is set up and its significance for developing country economies. This is also very important, and you have to explain the implication of globalization for developing countries, particularly how globalization helped for economic development, and is there any shortcomings or limitations of globalization for the developing countries, and particularly the less developed economy. So these are the things. Thank you. So you have to complete this thing from this chapter.